finals match without any break this time. So we'll be getting that back up on screen shortly. So let's run over the decks in a bit more detail. One of these will be our World Championship deck, and players will be pouring over it for some time. So let's give them a little bit of a head start.
So let's start with the aReNGee deck that we just saw take out Sir Rhino there. So yeah, obviously an evolution of aReNGee post Bartholo nerf. It's actually pretty similar to some stuff we saw. So Bruised by God originally came out with a deck when Mokto was more popular, before Tavrod came out, that was based around Bart, Impending Doom, Mokto, Valkyrie Spireguard, all these large evasive threats. And then we got Tavrod, which was a better replacement for Mokto. And that deck was really good at punishing these time mid-range decks. And that's kind of what Unearthly's was hoping to do here. Just kill Sandstorm Titans with Vanquish, Slay, and Annihilate. You just have so much removal for it. And then get in with your big beaters. All of your cards are either evasive, do a significant amount of damage, or have card advantage. So you end up being able to resolve 1 to 2 threats in the first couple turns and then just take it from there. Whereas the FJS deck is actually fairly similar in strategy in that you're just trying to resolve your 1 to 2 threats, but you're doing it in the later turns. So it's a similar strategy, just at a different point in the game. With instead of Annihilates and Vanquishes and Slays, which it does have, it takes away a couple of those for harsh rules and replaces some of the early game threats with things like Ikaria, Statuary Maiden, etc.
Yeah, Unearthly's definitely taken an interesting take, or an interesting adaptation of the deck. I know that Sideboard Oathbook wasn't something that we were really seeing in the heyday of Tavrod.
No.
And it seems that although Bartholo was definitely a lot slower and less impressive in this match than its absolute terror over Season 6 Invitational and previous, it can still do a fair amount of work. Just having an unblockable Aegis attacker is very difficult for decks that don't have that killer or weapons to really deal with. It just gives you another angle of attack. And Unearthly incorporating that as sort of a transformational sideboard plan that both allows him to go more aggressive with the Oathbook and more evasive with the Bartholo gives the deck another dimension of play that a lot of the other builds of it didn't necessarily have. However, it is up against the wall a lot in this. We're calling it a mid-range deck. This Fire Justice Shadow. Welk Reinforcer is really just a silence in Injustice. And Statuary Maiden's another kind of silence. So this is really just a Tavrod Ikaria deck with some friends. It's very controlling. Plays a lot of removal. Plays a couple rises to go find your key pieces. It's really only looking to win the game with a Tavrod or an Ikaria that hits a couple of times. And it's certainly a powerful deck. Very disruptive. We've seen that the interactive decks are the ones that succeed down the long stretch because they allow your players to do more with the deck. And sort of react to situations as they happen rather than being forced to stick to a primary game plan. Being able to shift gears in the middle of a match is something that very good players can make great use of. And we've seen everybody down this stretch, changing gears between I'm the aggressive player of this game. Suddenly I'm behind. I need to adapt to that. So being able to do that more effectively with your deck choice seems to have given players some power here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the FJS deck, definitely kind of a mid-range deck. It actually functions very similarly to the Dark Combre deck, the Bruce Combre deck, in that it's a controlling mid-range deck. It's got its Slays and stuff like that. But instead of Mystic Ascendants, you have your Tavrods and your Ikarias.
I don't think the Dark Combre deck plays Harsh Rule, right?
It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay. So
at least
very similar styles then. Although this one has all the sabotages.
Yeah, which
whereas the other one has banishes. ADEX Sabotage in the grand finals. You said it before. ADEX Tavrod.
No, that's not the important part. It's sabotage that's the important part, clearly.
We see, I think, 7 protects across the lists, 8 annihilates across the lists. So 8 Valkyrie Enforcers, card's still broken.
Oh yeah.
So lots of similarities between these lists. I mean, obviously they're both playing the best of Argenport, so you're going to see the slays, the sabotages, stuff like that. It's really the differences where they most come into play. Whereas Kamado has branched out into another faction for Torch, Quarry, and Maiden and Ikaria. Unearthly's board choices are like Bartholo and Oathbook, which aren't quite the same power level. And while Unearthly has the consistency of power base, we've seen him got stuck on 3 and 4 a lot since he's not playing very many power sources in order to avoid flooding out, which is just absolute death for this kind of deck. So
I wanted to touch on Oathbook actually, because I think it's a little bit of a throwback to Unearthly's Rakano builds, because he was the first one to really popularize Oathbook in Rakano, I think.
in Rakano, yes.
Yeah, and it still has a lot of synergy in this deck with the Tinker Overseers. It does just pump Tinker Overseer when it gets played. So it's a strategy that has proven to be very good against like that was his post-board plan versus Combray when that was in its heyday, and it was Rakano versus Combray, Stone Scar versus Combray. And here we're seeing, in this meta, we've seen a lot of Sandstorm Titans, and so that's probably why just getting through that one threat, and that's why I think we saw it come in last game versus Rhino, but I don't think it'll have as much value here against cards like Auric Runehammer, Harsh Rule, and Ikaria.
And Auric Runehammer is a card worth mentioning in the context of Unearthly's list, because it's something that we saw a lot of the Argenport mid-range lists playing when Bartholo was popular, and yet Unearthly didn't include any copies in his 90 cards. So yeah. I guess he decided against the time decks that he expected it wasn't going to be very effective. It doesn't line up very well against Sandstorm Titan or Mystic Ascendant. But usually you'd expect them to have access to it at least in the sideboard. Do you think that his transformational plan with the Oathbooks and the Bartholos just took up too much space?
I think that's part of it. I think Unearthly's deck doesn't have great options overall. Just the way it's built doesn't have great options for changing its strategy. So he has, like, even if you bring in the Runehammers, it's good in some matchups. It's good. He's really, the biggest change is that Tavrod doesn't have that many hits, right? Runehammer, you don't miss that much in this meta. There's a lot of time decks, like we said. So you miss hitting Runehammer off Tavrod. You don't miss it that much in the sideboard. The TJP deck had it in the sideboard because it's good in those aggressive matchups, good at killing Awakened Students, Kothons, things like that when you're also playing threats. But this deck doesn't have as many early plays as the TJP deck does. It does have Instigator and Overseer, but it still has a little bit tougher time setting up a board to protect a Runehammer. So I think Unearthly's the biggest thing was that Unearthly was like, I don't care about hitting my Runehammer off of Tavrod. My opponent's gonna be scared of Tavrod anyway. It's gonna eat removal, or if it does get me a Bloodletter, then that's just extra icing on the cake. It's just good enough on its own.
Mm-hmm. Well, the players are down to the match, so we are going to start the first game of the Grand Finals as Calimdir drops out of the call for me. Kamado does have winner's bracket advantage, which means that Unearthly will need to win 2 best of 5s if he wants to claim the title of world champion. Otherwise, if Kamado wins, he will just immediately become our world champion player. Nearly undefeated, dropping only 2 matches down the stretch. So, looking at the opening hands, Unearthly's got 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, and Kamado has 3-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop. So a little bit slower, but Kamado's on the play, so they're going to come out at about the same speed. We are going to see Kamado without the extra justice that he needs to actually play his cards, unfortunately. Seek Power will find it, but he's definitely been slowed down a lot. This Auric Runehammer could have been huge on turn 4, but still has time to do some work. Unearthly is going to be stonewalled at least a little bit. Yeah, should be able to play.
Runehammer going to be a 2-for-1 here, almost certainly, because Unearthly just doesn't have a way to really. Well, okay. I guess if Kamado's willing to trade there, and Unearthly being able to get that Impending Doom now, but that just opens up Vanquish.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Kamado can't Vanquish plus play another card. So do you consider like playing Statuary Maiden here for extra value? No, just goes for the Vanquish.
Yeah, I think against a deck that has Sabotage and Protect, you got to kill the Impending Doom when your doesn't have the power, and also it's just an aggressive deck. You don't want to take any damage if you don't have to.
Here, I imagine we'll see maybe the Runehammer come out, or do you? Yeah. So Kamado's not trying to mess around with Tavrod or anything. Just wants to get the removal spells while he can.
Yeah, I mean he can't play Tavrod. He could have played the Maiden and then played the Runehammer, which
Yes,
was something to consider. But okay, now he can play Tavrod, but he might just play Statuary Maiden because Tavrod dies to Vanquish. Maiden doesn't, and it actually trades with Tavrod.
Yeah. I think Maiden is the play. He may play Tavrod to just to get his own attacks in, as he's not going to take too much damage from it. There are no this is a main board game, so there are no Vanquishes for Unearthly main deck. So only Slay kills Tavrod.
What does this guy do?
Yes, this is the problem.
Main deck? Okay.
He's playing 4 Annihilates, no Vanquish in the main deck.
Right.
Which worked out well for him last game, less well against this only Volks as targets deck.
So the argument I have for Tavrod being played here is that maybe you draw an undepleted power and they can play Rise and Maiden, but he just goes for Valkyrie Enforcer this turn, wants to make sure Unearthly. So that's the thing. Unearthly is probably not going to hit anything off Tavrod, but people are just so scared of Tavrod that Unearthly just decided, I don't even care about Tavrod hits. He's just powerful enough on his own. I'll make my deck better.
How much of this is scared and how much of this is Tavrod's effect is very powerful if it does hit? You know, hitting getting +5 attack to a weapon or whatever is quite the play. And Unearthly drew another Tavrod, so we're going to have buddies.
Cow buddy. Oh man, it is a Tavrod Palooza. There's beef all over the place here.
Horns are being sharpened, limbs are flying everywhere.
Oh man.
And Unearthly just slams that. He does.
Ooh.
And
it's a Bloodletter or a Gemblade.
Or another Tavrod.
Oh, true. Or an Interrogator, yeah. Oh, an Interrogator, the best one of the bunch there.
Alright, so you just play like Harshal's not a card, right? And you slam your Impending Doom and Interrogator? Just straight YOLO?
I don't know if I slam both, but I definitely slam the Interrogator.
Yes, I agree that taking the slightly more defensive line might lead to fewer Unearthly getting blown out by Harsh Rule plays.
But he definitely wins if he... Oh, man, he's going for it.
He knows his opponent doesn't have Harsh Rule, because there's no way you don't Harsh Rule the double Tavrod board. And this plays around Slay. Kamado does not have enough power to play Slay plus Tavrod.
Yeah, that's going to be the game. Wow, and Unearthly finally taking a game against his FJS deck.
Unearthly has been playing conservative for, the majority of the games we've seen him play, and then he just pushes in the final game against Kamado, knowing that, the first game against Kamado anyways, knowing that he doesn't have it, and that aggression pays off, and it's the first of many games that he'll need to win, but it's a good start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll have to win a total of 6 games here.
Mm-hmm. And can only afford to drop 2 in any one set.
Yep.
But players are back in game, and Kamado, slow hand, but a Harsh Rule, and enough sigils to cast his stuff. If Unearthly gets off to a fast start, that could be pretty powerful, and a single Sabotage could make that Harsh Rule. Oh boy!
Just don't pick Privilege of Rank. Okay, all
right. That's more event stuff. That happened. That was in one of my event runs.
Oh my god! Who are you playing against? Jeez.
Yeah. So, Unearthly, however, doesn't have any aggressive cards to follow this up. So, despite sabotaging the Harsh Rule, oh no, he drew an Instigator. Okay, that's very good for him. As Kamado's hand is still slow, he can maybe slay it next turn, But that's never where you want to be. And he may need to against this early a Bloodletter. Okay, Kamado's hand is turned back on, but his Auric Runehammer is no longer able to deal with the threat, and the Slay's out. That means the Tavrod can come down next turn if Unearthly draws a power.
Yeah, Kamado doesn't have a great answer to that. I mean, Valkyrie Enforcer's fine, but still taking 5 every turn is pretty bad.
Ooh, Sabotage. Elects not to go for it, which...
Yeah, I mean, he has seen the Runehammer, so I
yeah.
don't know.
Runehammer doesn't kill Tavrod, though.
That's true.
So, I guess he's just decided to wait for a better opportunity.
The problem is he can't Sabotage before he Tavrods if he draws a 5th power next turn.
Mm-hmm.
But he does get that Annihilate.
Takes the Annihilate, which is interesting. He has fewer cards that deal with Runehammer than he does cards that die to Annihilate. But yeah, here's the Tavrod coming down, and maybe just race it. Slam that Ikaria? No.
Oh, okay.
Never mind.
I guess not.
I was getting excited.
Yeah, I would have done it. You know me.
Well, he's got a Bloodletter to buff it up, and Kamado's going to need some hard removal to remove this. Like, he gets free value out of the Annihilate here, safely using it on a Mirror Vulcanforcer as there are 0 other targets.
Yep.
And that's a pretty big health swing, and now Ikaria's not looking so good. Even Tavrod doesn't block.
This is kind of crazy. Unearthly maybe even taking this game as well.
Oh my god, if Ikaria doesn't chump, Finest Hour pushes Tavrod into 11 damage and kills him.
Oh my god. Well, is Unearthly going to win this off of a Finest Hour?
It seems... This tournament has been Unearthly's finest hour, it seems.
Yeah,
Kamado's not going to block it, right?
No, there's no way you block this.
And then you just die. Oh my god.
My gosh.
Finest hour coming in clutch for Unearthly in
Tavrod,
two absolutely
Tavrod
critical games.
Tavrod does not need text. Confirmed.
Confirmed. It's just a 5/7. I don't know what everybody's so up in arms about. Oh my goodness. So that puts Unearthly up 2-0, which is exactly where he needs to be in this bracket reset. Kamado, of course, has these games to give and shouldn't be too worried yet, as these are some pretty fantastic circumstances that are coming about to make it happen. But Unearthly's in it to win it. And they've chosen their sideboards and they're right back in. This is going fast.
Yeah, that was fast.
Okay. Kamado's hands continue to be unspectacular.
Well, okay, he has a lot of answers, and it's not a bad hand. It's just that he has to draw into power, and it's a bit slow. There's a lot of depleted power. That's the problem.
Overseer into Oathbook? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh my god,
that's a pretty fast start.
Yeah. Okay. Kamado sends it back, so he has an Annihilate and a Suffocate. So that means if Sabotage doesn't come down, which it does. Oh boy.
Which is... I think you have to take the Annihilate.
I think you have to take the Annihilate, yeah, because you can get out of Suffocate range.
Is there a world? Can you take the Harsh Roll? Oh, this is not good.
I'm not sure. You could take the Seek power if you're feeling really spicy.
That would be some gumption. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kamado doesn't have Shadow, and Unearthly doesn't know that, and that would ruin Kamado's day.
But I don't think that's a real decision here. If you could see the whole hand, you'd take it.
Yeah.
But potentially, if you were feeling,
psychic. You don't know.
The soul read.
God, he has a giant cursor.
He's looking at it. He's not currently hovering over Seek power, though. So
this is just such a tense match after so much has happened. All right, takes the Annihilate finally.
The expected card, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is that playing that Sabotage on 1 means that he's not guaranteed to be able to play anything on 2. Yep. Unless he draws a Justice Source. Because he didn't play the Emerald Monument depleted to guarantee his 2-drop. Shadow Sigil does not do... Whoa, yeah.
Slow down there, cowboy.
Okay. So Unearthly now with the 2-drop down. probably just going to die to suffocate.
Yeah, he knows that. Oh,
But
we
Unearthly
drew
has
the
a Finest Hour.
Oh my god, Finest Hour has done so much work this tournament.
So
today,
let's see, that's 3
Vanquish,
times Unearthly has played Finest Hour and
But
nearly
now
won himself
Vanquish
the
can't
game.
kill Tavrod.
Can't kill Tavrod.
So who gets to power first?
But okay,
Annihilate
Kamato's
also doesn't
stuck.
kill Tavrod.
Kamato's stuck.
Unearthly can't play that. Or I see. I'm still behind.
Yeah, he doesn't have the double justice. And now the game sort of stalls a bit, which is probably
he
good
drew
for the guy with the
Protect.
harsh rule in hand.
Yeah. And he drew a 4th power for that maiden. But now Kamato's going to be spooked about this Finest Hour forever.
So now Annihilate, and then that's protected, I guess?
Yeah, that's Protect.
It turns we all thought that Unearthly was a fire player, but it turns out he's a justice player.
Yeah.
And Finest Hour is delivering some sweet, sweet justice for Unearthly. And now he gets to slam to Avrod? Is that good? Is that even good? I don't know if that's good.
A harsh rule.
Yeah. I got all excited and then I realized that wasn't a very good play.
Yeah. Unearthly really needs Kamato to harsh rule his own board so he can play this Tavrod.
Do you just punch in here and then
I'm definitely tempted.
play Tavrod? Is that good?
Well, you kind of hope that they don't have a second maiden and you can draw like a protect or a sabotage to deal with this this harsh rule.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what Unearthly's line is here. And maybe Kamato puts the cudgel on the other maiden and Unearthly can vanquish it and then he finds an answer to harsh rule.
I think it's more likely that if Unearthly passes, which I think he will do, Kamato will play like Statuary Maiden and then
cudgel the Valkyrie Enforcer.
Ooh, maybe not. He may want to hold up Protect.
Yeah, if he draws a power, that's definitely his line.
So Unearthly's thinking about it.
Okay.
And does elect to play Tavrod.
I mean, it's that or don't do anything, which is...
It may pull out the harsh roll. That may be threatening enough. We saw Kamato rise for Vulcan Forcer to fight Tavrod.
So I think he is going to harsh roll since he has this maiden already, and he has a cudgel.
He may just play maiden. Okay.
No.
Didn't. So he is worried about it attacking.
And that's also not bad for Kamato, because now he doesn't have to worry about killing his own maiden.
Whew. Now he's got a Slay for backup. So anything Unearthly plays is... Oh, never mind. So that walks into Unearthly's Vanquish, which is going to get protected, and then Unearthly's Slay is going to kill it. And then we have Slay versus Oathbook as the cards in hand. Kamato 1 power away from Makaria.
Okay, Runehammer's going to actually put a clock on.
No, Kamato didn't play it. He's holding on for the Slay.
Oh.
Ooh, Dark Return on Tavrod. That looks really good, but we know it's going to die to Slay.
Yeah.
Torch still in the deck.
Well,
after
there
board.
is Instigator, Tinker, Overseer, Interrogator, like Valkyrie Enforcer, every card but in Doom and Tavrod.
It has 12 targets. It's just interesting because there's a lot of removal in both decks.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to overload on removal.
I guess I'm thinking too much back to Toss Praxis deck where he really didn't want it in against the Argenport deck that he was facing. Another Protect. Unearthly, somewhat flooded. Does have a Slay.
Tavrod for Kamato.
So Unearthly needs to draw a second removal spell immediately, essentially, since this one's going to get protected. As players just trade Protects back and forth.
I think Suffocate might be a little out of place in this matchup.
Kills the Maidens, kills the Volks.
Yeah.
But a little bit out of place here, facing down a Tavrod, yes.
And Kamato doesn't
Which
get anything.
Didn't hit anything. but it's still a large unit. And Torch plus Runehammer kills anything, unless there's another Dark
basically.
Return.
Oh, there's a Slay.
Okay. So Volk gets suffocated. All right. So what does Unearthly draw?
Instigator. Well, that
just
gets Runehammered probably. Oh wait.
He can also cast the Suffocate.
Yeah.
Did not.
Speaking of Suffocate.
All right. Well, Runehammer Torch is probably what's going to come down here, and then Unearthly is in a bit of trouble.
A bit, yeah. Taking 7 a turn is no joke here.
Maybe. Wait, Unearthly knows about the Runehammer, right?
Yeah.
From a long ago sabotage.
Yes,
So
yes.
maybe he didn't suffocate there to open up drawing another Instigator.
That would be Unearthly would be.
I don't know if that's good though, because he took 3 damage essentially for free just to hold information.
Yeah.
And another Volk turns this Enforcer live, and this is a big quarry.
Yeah, this could be big, and it gets
into another quarry. All right,
here we go. Come on.
Reroll. Second dice roll.
Play. Okay.
All right. That doesn't do anything here.
Well, it definitely lets him get Runehammer in again next turn.
Yeah, it's a lot safer. Oh, second Runehammer.
All right, now I think it's over.
That's pretty locked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Kamato.
What about Vera's Saver into Vera's Saver, huh? Are you feeling me?
I think it's too late for Vera's Favor to do
now.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Suffocate is the draw. I'm not sure about these post-board Suffocates.
Me neither.
But
I don't think the decks are consistent enough to warrant Suffocate. I don't think you can consistently get a board established early, and then Kamato also doesn't always defend himself with units. Sometimes he defends himself with rune hammers and removal and stuff. So
when you're playing against the harsh roll deck and then you get stuck with Suffocates in hand, not a great feeling. But Unearthly still ahead in the match, 2-1, and that was a very back and forth extravaganza between Kamato and Unearthly. As we go down to Game 4, Unearthly up 2-1, but down in the series.
Yeah, not
and
changing
needs to win
anything.
2 in a row, or if he did so fast that we didn't see.
No, I watched.
Okay, so fast that I didn't see. Kamato. Immediately draws out of it.
Look at
Unearthly. And Unearthly immediately draws into.
Oh, never mind.
That's still not enough.
He's
not going to have anything to play until 4.
Yeah, but it's
into
something.
Kamato's infinite removal spells.
True.
Kamato's hand is all removal.
Yep. All removal all the time.
And so Unearthly draws these removal spells of his own, and then they don't do anything until it's too late.
Yeah, good thing I Suffocates there.
Yeah. Only has 8 targets. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit too inconsistent. Obviously, it could be very powerful if you go something like Instigator, and then they
you just Runehammer Torch, right?
Yep.
And then
it's more valuable.
Yeah, because Unearthly can play Tavrod next turn, but then you just Vank it, and then you place Tavrod, and then you harsh roll it, and then. And then Unearthly debating about playing this Emerald Monument for power. I think you do, and you just play Impending Doom. Unlock your Tavrods.
He might be able to get a Protect in if he draws a 6 power.
Ooh, that would be big if he protected like a harsh roll or something.
Yeah. I think you gotta take the 5th power when you have a Protect. When drawing an extra power isn't even bad because you get to leave a Protect. There's no.
Yeah, I don't think that holding on to that is the line.
I mean, Gemblade can be powerful. Especially against Rune. What? Oh man, he just passes. He plays the.
He's going to play Doom with Protect up. That's what he's
Okay,
going to do.
okay,
So he's guaranteeing himself a Protect line. Takes the 4 damage, doesn't mind it.
okay.
It's
think this is good.
conservative, but
Yeah.
it's not from nowhere. Like most people would slam the Doom there. Unearthly trying to guarantee value out of his protects rather than worrying about waiting.
I think it's better because I was imagining drawing a 6 power, but obviously that's not what happened. And Unearthly now gets to get in more damage had he gone for the other line.
Unearthly doesn't want to draw a 6 power. As Komodo is now messaging me.
Unearthly doesn't necessarily want a 6 power now that he has the protect for the Doom. He doesn't mind just keeping the Doom forever. But if
So we just had an illegal sideboard problem. Komodo does not actually have 2 suffocates in his tournament list. And so realized that he had illegally sideboarded, and being a sportsman conceded the match, as that is a game loss.
Wow, and that puts them into the second series.
Yes. So that on the back of that, Unearthly has won the set and reset the bracket, and we go now to our 5th and final match. A little bit confusing, and it's certainly anticlimactic. But we've still got one more major match to go.
Yeah, a whole another best of 5.
Yes. So players are just practicing their sideboard, or they are fixing their sideboard issue, and we are trying to get players to understand behind the scenes what is going on. You play another, so they will play another base side from pre-sideboard. So they are just getting into that one. Well, it certainly wasn't Suffocate's finest hour here, as it wasn't winning anybody games, and it just lost somebody a game here, which is incredibly unfortunate for all players involved. We know, but kudos to Komodo for being a good sport about it. We saw happen to Hythar previously. Yeah, he's only playing 1 Suffocate in his sideboard. So we've just pulled that up there. All right, we will get back down to the match as soon as we can. For our final match between Unearthly versus Komodo. Unearthly battled back through the losers bracket after losing to Komodo in winners finals in a clean 3-0 sweep, and is now just 1 match away from beating him. Either best of 3, whichever player wins this match will win the tournament. So.
Yeah, and something I think interesting to point out is that Unearthly, or rather, in no of our ETS Premier tournaments has the losers bracket ever come back to win. We've had, I think, one person reset. In the MSM, I guess, losers bracket came and reset and won. But this would be.
Yes. Conf did come back and win, and we could see here Unearthly win. But for the Invitationals, I believe that was also disproved, even at the Invitational level. I think he's an Invitational 4 or something, Child Roland was. Oh, that doesn't sound right. One of the Invitationals broke that, I'm pretty sure. Anyways. Don't mind me. But yeah, it's certainly not easy to battle back through the losers bracket. Sir Rhino was doing his best, but ultimately fell at
the hands of Unearthly.
Yes. And everyone else has been eliminated so far. Season 4 was Loser's Bracket. All right. So we got confirmed by production that I am correct and not crazy. And the players are back into it. So this is our final best of 5 of the ETS World Championships. The player who wins this match will be the world champion. And if it's unearthly, they will pick up the additional title of Player of the Year, which is very exciting. Kamado keeps a one-lander. Not sure about that. You can seek power into a lot of quarries, but just naturally having power seems a little better.
I mean, he does have a sabotage, which is good.
But it's takes a slay. All right. So Unearthly's hand is some power, a Volk, a Finest Hour, and those Annihilates that he really wishes weren't in his hand. Kamado, of course, draws a 7-drop while stuck on power. Sweet.
He's got the all-important Finest Hour. Unearthly's Lucky Charm.
Not so good versus Slay.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's worked for him before, a couple of times, and I thought that was Kamado's Vera's favor for a minute. And I was going to comment about being confused about why Vera's favor was in his list, but
it's not. Surprise, surprise. So Quarry comes out, takes a Tavrod over a power. Whew. That is, woo, yeah, that is the right reaction I have to that.
Kamado has decided that power problems are for other players.
Yeah, this man loves his beef, and he will not give it up for anything.
All right, well, I once had to decide between my second power and an Ikaria, and I felt pretty similar to how Kamado must have there.
All right, so he gets the 4th power.
He does find it, so it ends up working out. He can play this Annihilate and kill the Volk if he wants to.
Yeah, he does, which leaves Unearthly basically out of plays.
He's got nothing.
And
some
Annihilate
power.
Annihilate does not line up well with the Beefmaster himself.
I mean, Instigator looks cool, but it just dies to Runehammer. Oh, it doesn't die to Runehammer. My mistake. Unearthly is holding that Finest Hour. But because there was a pause, and Kamado is paying attention to the game, odds are that he'll know, and he won't go for the Runehammer, and he doesn't. He plays the Tavrod, although I'm not sure if that's because he's playing around Finest Hour or we're in full-on Tavrod love mode.
I mean, he's also just gotten played by Finest Hour before, so he knows better now.
Man, if Unearthly straps on a Bloodletter and attacks, you can't block, right? You saw the pause. You saw the pause.
Yeah. Especially when you have 2 slays in hand, like why bother? You're at 24, just slay it.
So do you just play like Bloodletter and then try to block if you're Unearthly?
No. How do you? What do you mean? How do you block? Which is Finest Hour? No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, just block Finest Hour.
No, you get in for 6.
Because you can't really attack in.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, you can, but what?
Oh my god!
What? All right. Well, that worked out pretty well for Unearthly.
Wow.
So, Finest Hour number 4.
Okay,
it's just hour after hour.
Yeah, hour after hour.
After hour.
Slay is never over.
And now Tavrod's going to come down for another game, or for both sides.
For both sides. Just beef all around.
All right. Do the Runehammer Torch thing. I like the Runehammer Torch thing.
Yeah, I think that's good.
So that shouldn't have happened, but I think Unearthly's still like miles behind in this match.
Yes.
Or in this game, sorry.
Yeah, Unearthly has no more plays. Kamado has...
opponent plays Tavrod. Foil, so pretty good.
Yeah.
Has Rise, has Slay, has Ikaria just in case. Like, you never concede in a professional match, but if I was Unearthly, I'd be tempted to, because you are super dead.
Hey, you could, I'm really struggling here. You need some kind of
Tavrod hit 2 cards.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So, you're a little dead here.
Yeah, well, maybe you can convince your opponent to harsh rule themselves.
I
I'm
think
not.
I think he's waiting for Kamado to draw a sideboard card. Too soon? Too soon?
Oh my god.
Yikes. Alright. So 6/6, not enough. And that'll be 15. And yeah, Unearthly packs it in.
Yep.
Whew.
So
Where's the
that's
beef?
game
There's the
1 of
beef.
this series. I mean, Unearthly pulled out some crazy games in that last series, so maybe he can pull it out again, but it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah. Well, if Unearthly can steal another pre-board game, I think he's got reasonable odds of taking it down.
Yeah.
As I think post-board things improve for him, just because those 4 main board annihilates are quite punishing.
Yeah, I think he really needs to take this game here so that he's not going in 0-2.
Ooh. Okay, just takes the sleigh. All right. Harsh Rule, less attractive to pull that away when your opponent wants to go Maiden into Tavrod. Oof. And Unearthly's hand is not full of gas.
No, certainly
Instigator's
not.
some gas. Sabotage is going to take Unearthly's only hope, though, with that Finest Hour.
Hey, Finest Hour can still provide moral support from the Void.
It deflected the Sabotage.
Yeah.
Away from... I'm not sure. But Unearthly does have an aggressive start, and Kamado doesn't really have any plays here. He needs to seek for a Justice. Yes, Unearthly did draw another Sabotage. But chose not to play it there, because he knew that Harshul couldn't come down to turn 5. Plays Interrogator, but now can't play Sabotage.
That's fine. He can play it this turn.
Since he didn't play the Monument, he can't play Slay and Sabotage if he draws it. Did he draw Slay? He drew Volk. Ha! Punished!
Yeah, punished.
Stop holding on to those monuments.
Yeah, that would have been a pretty big difference here. Difference of 3 damage.
Yeah. So, do you have to suffocate Tavrod here?
Silence?
Silence Tavrod?
Yeah, I think you might. I mean, either one blocks you from attacking, so you block the one that can attack, I guess, or you silence the one that can actually attack.
He can do like a defensive Finest Hour if he cares.
He might just
this means that Tavrod doesn't attack in freely. And he's got the air.
He just lets us through, right? 100% of the time? Oh, okay.
Yes, I think that this attack fakes a Harsh Rule, but Kamado doesn't actually have one, which means that Kamado's in trouble. And that click A, go back, click A, go back. That's going to give it away to Unearthly, because if this was a real Harsh Rule attack, that's just an A space.
Yeah.
So good that he held back. I think attacking with the 5/7 is fine. But you're on a 2-turn clock as the Finest Hour comes through clutch once again.
But he attacks with the Interrogator. I'm not sure. I guess to get in the 1 damage from Instigator triggers.
I guess so. I think it's to clear the Maidens, so he silences the other Maidens now, and if there's a Harsh Rule,
right,
he doesn't get infinite, cudgels. So you're pushing anyways, so it plays a little bit better around Harsh Rule.
He can get an Enforcer here to deal with 2 flyers.
He can Enforcer to bring 1 down and
block the other.
But
he's still dead? No. Nope.
No.
He takes 6.
Yes. Yeah. So I was trying to count if there was a line where he just A-spaced and snuck the 1 extra damage through off the trade. If
Oh, another overseer.
I think you just attack, and then
Yeah, just with the Valkyrie Enforcer, or with both?
I think you attack with both.
I don't think you can attack with both. Because you just lose if he blocks the Tinker.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because you can't threaten lethal with just the 3/3. So just a 3/3 attack. If you're Kamato, do you block this? I think you have to. Just everything in the deck kills Vulcan Forcer.
Yeah.
Ooh, spicy.
So he doesn't actually lose. I thought about it more. If he does do the Tinker Overseer, he can just play the
He's
Valkyrie
priced into
Enforcer.
he's
playing
priced
Tinker.
into playing the, or no, I guess he doesn't need to play the second finest hour.
I think he does. I think he has to play the Finest Hour and the Tinker if he does attack with both.
Yeah. He can play the finest hour here if he wants, but I think that's worse than trading.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, actually, I don't think so. I think that's better than trading.
Oh, right, because Valkyrie Enforcer doesn't die. But yeah.
Yes, and it does. See here, his opponent's at 6, but a single one isn't lethal. See here, we play the Auric Runehammer, and now you don't have lethal anymore. Whereas
Well,
if
he's got
you,
Finest Hour.
that's true, but you can't kill him on the backswing.
Well, you couldn't kill him before if you Finest Hour anyway, right? Because he would just kill the Enforcer.
If you finest hour, you would have had an extra unit, and then, all right, sabotage the cudgel, sure, attack. All right,
So
this ended up working out about the same.
Yeah, and that's going to be game.
That's going to be game. So Unearthly steals one, and we're going into game 3 at 1-1.
This is intense.
This is quite the grand finals, I have to say. We'll be going into a sideboard match. Hopefully the players sideboard with a little bit less abandon this time.
Yeah.
Unearthly gets to pull his Annihilates. Do you think the Suffocates are going to come back in? I feel like they are, but I also don't really like it.
I think he's going to just do the same thing that he did every time, because that's what it looked like he did.
Mm-hmm.
He just went like, that's the deck. I made this before. This is my sideboard plan. This is to it.
Yeah. Okay, well, the players have decided, and they are going back in.
But yeah, I don't think he wants Suffocates, but they're in there, and they both have. Look at, there's the one Suffocate. All right, if he draws another Suffocate, be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. This was a problem last game, and that's not a keepable hand by Unearthly. And this is a very, well, I guess it's not that slow. The Seek Power turns it on by turn 3, so this is fine for Kamato. Protect is pretty key. Vera's Favor helps get Unearthly up to where he needs to be. Ooh, Sabotage is a nice draw for Kamato.
Yeah. Unearthly needs something to keep this.
Do you pull the Protect?
Alive, or he needs.
He's got 2 removal spells, so probably Protect, right?
Probably Protect, yeah.
Because you've got like the Harsh Rule and the Slay and stuff, and the Suffocate.
I mean, like, if you really want your Saturated Maiden to live, you could take the Slay.
Okay, right, pulls the Protect. Yeah, that's what we expected.
Yeah, and that way Sabotage gets to double as a removal spell, which is what you want it to be doing.
Hey, Sabotage is a removal spell. Unearthly drew one of his cards that dies to it.
Oh, you mean Suffocate?
Okay, so Unearthly just plays the Impending Doom now, I guess. Yeah, and then, depending on how aggressive Kamato wants to be, he either slays it or plays Stature Maiden. I anticipate a slay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think after last game, he's not messing around with any of that.
Falling too low. Unearthly really needs to draw another threat. Tavrod would be good here, but it would also die to well, it wouldn't necessarily die to Harsh Rule. Because there's no double justice for Kamato. Kamato can't play Harsh Rule yet. So now he's got this
If
Statuary
Unearthly-
Maiden.
Yeah, if he sneaks it out with his Valkyrie Enforcer, I'll be very impressed.
First Slay going to get protected, and that's fine. Maybe the Slay doesn't get protected. Ooh. Kamado just doesn't care about his Vulcan or about. Ooh, that's
Can't
tough.
play
You
that.
you can't play Tavrod. First of all, because of influence. Second of all, because you know your opponent has Vanquish. Third of all, because you can't have Protect up.
Oh
Second
my God.
Tavrod, no justice.
Is this how it happens? Is this how it ends?
There is no justice in the world for Kamado. And Unearthly has now drawn a Protect. Okay, so he can protect that 3-drop and a second flyer. Can I get the "It's Happening" gif in here?
Yeah.
All right, surely this finds a power. Do not take a Tavrod.
Okay.
He successfully did not take a Tavrod. Okay, so now he's got Harsh Rule online.
Yeah.
Which is good for him. Unearthly.
What happens if Unearthly draws Sabotage here? How rude would that be?
It would get protected by Kamado.
Okay. Oh, that's a good draw. Now that he's only going to have 1 unit, thanks to Harsh Rule.
And it even buffs up the Tinker.
Yeah.
This turn. So now you have to Harsh Rule.
I think so.
But it doesn't work completely because of the Protect. And then Unearthly hits you down to 5, and then you're on 1 turn lethal.
Okay, but which unit does he protect? This is important here. All right, he goes for the
one that can grow from further Oath books.
Yep.
Yeah. Did he play a power that turn? I didn't see.
I don't know.
All right, so Kamado's on 1 turn lethal.
Yep, he's got to draw an answer here right now, and
that's an answer.
There's a Slay.
All right, well, that's an answer. Unearthly's hand is nothing of consequence at this time. So...
What a game.
I'm not sure what we're thinking about. You're dead if you don't slay.
Yeah.
Man, I really don't want to get a message that's like, I only have 3 slays in my list.
Oh.
Alright. So now Unearthly needs to draw something, but he has a turn or two to do it. And he... It doesn't look like he found anything.
Oh my God.
No. Oh boy. That's a Tavrod. Did Unearthly find something on this draw? He already had that Vanquish.
Yep.
It's going to get protected, probably.
No, he drew a power.
Probably. Alright, it did.
So much tension.
Unearthly has nothing.
And another
Kamado drew a Harsh Rule. Yikes. Alright, I think that locks it up for Kamado. It was real scary. He needed to peel an answer in 1 turn, but he did so. There's no Obliterate that Unearthly can draw or anything like that. And now it's a 1-turn clock.
Yep. And Unearthly scoops it up, dead to the cows.
And Kamado is on tournament point against Unearthly. Unearthly down to his last life. If he loses this game, Kamado will be our world champion. He must win this game and take it to game 5 if he wants to bring it back. So it all comes down to this.
The biggest, most important match of Eternal to date.
The final game of the final match of the final tournament of the first year of the Eternal Tournament Series all comes down to this. And we're in, and we have the opening hands. Oathbook and Sabotage for Unearthly, but no early drop. Looks okay. Kamado, that hand looks serviceable. It's a couple Annihilates, and he's kept. It looks like Unearthly has 2. So lots of early removal.
Unearthly has a hand that, if he draws threats, will be very dangerous. Oathbook makes everything he draws pretty powerful. Has it one sabotage to at least deal with this first annihilate. But he needs more still.
Problem is, it's really tough for him to now play anything into that annihilate, just knowing that it's going to die.
Yeah.
And we've seen the depleted power means that this Sabo can take the Oathbook.
Yep.
Doesn't fire it off. Whew. Battle of inches.
Yeah, some really interesting plays coming out from both players.
That is a lot of annihilates.
You might even say it's 4 annihilates.
It's 3.
Yeah, you're right. But
So
you might say it's 4 because he's got 4 in his deck.
You might be wrong. He's only drawn 3.
All right.
Like at some point, you fire off a sabotage, right?
Yes.
All right.
At this point, right now.
So it takes the Vanquish, stranding that Suffocate in hand, just like every other game.
It's a good card.
I'm not a big fan of these Suffocates.
I'm not either.
So is Unearthly waiting to draw a Protect to play that Impending Doom? I guess.
Yes, but there's 2 annihilates. He only knows about 1, right?
Yeah. He's also kind of worried about Runehammer Torch, which he knows is online now. I think he's trying not to play anything to disincentivize Kamato from playing Runehammer at any point.
Yeah, I mean, right now Unearthly's in a position where if he plays cards, he loses. But if he doesn't play cards,
he also loses. Yeah. Is he waiting to play like Gemblade on Interrogator?
That would be
draw
pretty
a card.
spicy.
He's up at 8 power.
Yeah, he is almost
that's
at
a lot
8.
of power.
All right, Suffocate finds a target.
Gonna get protected.
I mean, he doesn't mind, honestly. I don't think.
He plays a Doom. He has drawn the Protect backup. And Protect backup will work on the first Annihilate. Would have actually been quite good if Kamato...
second Annihilate.
Yeah. So Kamato's using the second Annihilate in response because Unearthly does play... well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because of the Maiden, but it could have mattered because Unearthly does play Dark Return.
Right.
But Unearthly now not in great shape. He can do the Interrogator thing, but that dies to Torch plus Runehammer.
What did he draw though?
So I have to say it's looking like Kamato's going to take it.
Yeah, it's going to look like Kamato is the champion.
Don't want to call it too soon. Unearthly
right
drew a power. Yeah, 9 power. That's tough.
And this FJS mid-range deck, just a little bit bigger than the Argenport deck, has a lot of nice ways to deal with Unearthly's units that are all need to be interacted with in pretty different ways between the removal, the silences, and the weapons.
So lots of cards that keep people honest. I mean, the Runehammers have been nearly MVP in these matches. Single-handedly killing Unearthly, just bonk for 4 every turn. You know, people weren't playing Torches expecting the big time mirrors, but enough talking about the decks. Unearthly has fallen, and Kamato is officially the world champion of the first year of the Eternal Tournament Series. He had his breakout season in Season 5, won a tournament, came into the Invitational. Everybody had high hopes for him. Wasn't quite as successful there. Won 2 more tournaments in Season 6. You know, came in with even more success. I believe he once again wasn't able to top 8 the Invitational, but he picked up a few more points off of some top 4s in Season 5, and went down to wildcards, played off against a Lunix using this deck, won the tiebreaker in order to get that last spot that was declined by I Read Minds, came into this tournament with the same deck and just took off. 13-2. No, was he 14-1 through the first round robin?
It was
Anyway,
something crazy.
dropped just a single, dropped almost just a single match in the round robin. Came into the world, the top 8 grand finals. You know, having lost to no one along the way, dropped a single reset match to Unearthly and just won the entire tournament. Congratulations to Kamato. He has won the title of world champion, $1,000, and the accolades of everybody. A lot of people were saying that this was the guy that came in. He was the new hotness, and well, I think he's certainly proven himself. His season 5 and season 6 have been a wonder to behold. So we are now going to our post-game show. We're gonna go down all the players because we had a lot of people here today. A lot of people had fantastic results, and we're gonna pull up a graphic that I do not currently have. We're gonna get Rakenner in the booth. But congratulations to Kamato, and congratulations to Unearthly for his second place finish.
Yeah, and congratulations to all the players. It's been an amazing tournament. I haven't been casting for all of them.
Yeah, and there's just so many stories here. Moosh with his run through the elimination, then just crushing the second round robin. Sir Rhino, you know, taking down Moosh and then taking down Moosh in as the final match to stop the 9-0, and then running through the losers bracket here up to top 4. Team ET with its 5 members in the worlds, putting all 5 into the top 8. All of them did fall fairly early on, with the exception of Kamato, representing Team ET, who did win the World Championships. So ET now has the only World Champion in Eternal on their ranks. Of course, other teams doing fairly well as well. Unearthly, one of the founding members of Owls and Dragons, showing up in second place and winning Player of the Year. Not so bad. We now have Rek joining us. Hello, Rek. Rakenner.
Hello.
I cannot hear.
Yeah, sorry, I was just finishing up getting the graphic updated, as you all should now hopefully be seeing on stream. Sorry, we appear to be having an audio issue. Sorry. All right. Yeah, we appear to have an issue with our back-end call. Sorry. Unfortunate timing. But yeah, we have the Player of the Year race decided. We have the prize pool decided, and we have, of course, our top 8 decided. So Unearthly, despite his loss in the finals, has played outstanding over the span of the entire year and has won the Year 1 Player of the Year award. Both him and Kamato kind of sharing the podium at this final stage. You know, it's the kind of the equivalent of the MVP award in most sports. You don't have to be on the winning team to be the MVP. But we also have our prize pools for the event decided. So Kamato will be taking home a cool $1,000 for his win in the event. Unearthly will take home $750, $300 to Sir Rhino, $250 to Toth, and Moosh and Sarius will both be getting $150 for 5th, 6th, and Sunnyvale and Tobo will be getting $100 for 7th, 8th. We don't have them play off to determine the actual full seeding, and double elimination gives you 1 through 4 cleanly.
Well, looking back at obviously, huge congratulations to Kamato. He's had a fantastic season, but unfortunately, he only really, while he debuted in early season 2, all of his major results came in season 5 and 6. And Unearthly's been playing since season 1, and he's stacked up a whole bunch of numbers. Kamato is number 2 in weekly wins. Unearthly is number 1 with 6. Unearthly has played the most games of competitive Eternal of anyone in the ETS. He also holds the highest win rate. Kamato is in second. So seeing these two guys, number 1 and number 2, in the finals is no big surprise to anybody here. They are definitely our top 2 players in Eternal here. And considering the match went down to the wire like that, congratulations to both players.
Really, at this point, Unearthly is just building himself as the Patrick Chapin of Eternal. Always the top 8 finisher for Pro Tour, never the finalist. He just has to wait a few years for the storyline to develop before he can finally win.
Yeah, this was actually, I think, his first result that was better than, I think he's won top 6, maybe.
Yes, he was top 6 in the Season 3 Invitational, and that was his best result to date, I believe.
So almost got that win at the Invitational level, although he's been top 8, a couple of times. So no stranger to Premier play, but never really broken through into the top 4 of a Premier event before now. But what better stage than this? Obviously, Kamato had not been successful at either Season 5 or Season 6 Invitational, only at the weekly events. But I think he showed pretty conclusively here with a nearly undefeated run that he's not so bad,
Yeah, going 11-4 in the first Swiss, then going all but undefeated today. He went 4-1. 3 wins through the winners bracket, and then a 1-1 in the grand finals, putting himself up to a pretty respectable 15-5. I mean, 75% win rate in the best of the best tournament. It's pretty good.
It's okay. It's higher than anyone else's career win rate at all. Looking at the Player of the Year race, Unearthly's 16 points does put him up at the top. Angry Chicken did not make top 8. Obviously, he was a million points ahead of everybody but Unearthly, so he does end up claiming the second place prize. Toss 4th place puts him a single point behind Unearthly, and a single point ahead of 2 of our other top finishers. Kamato, our world's winner, comes in at 4th place, tied with Sir Rhino, our 4th place winner. Sir Rhino, of course, has made a couple of top 4s at some invitationals and stuff, and has been playing since Season 1 as well, so had a lot of time to back up his points. Sarius in top 6 ended up as our 6th place finisher. Hyther and Confcroat unfortunately did not make top 8 and were not able to improve. Moosh has had a standout Season 6, though.
Yeah, Moosh's last month or thereabout have been crazy.
Yeah, I think he came second at Season 6 Invitational, getting him a huge chunk of points after coming second at Season 5 Invitational, if that makes sense. No, he was only top 6.
Moosh was
definitely top 8 at Season 5 Invitational.
Top 6 of the Season 5 Invitational, yeah.
Yeah, and then he got a second place, and then here he got another top 6 to go along with that after an incredible run back. So great story there. Sunnyvale, the man who came from nowhere, didn't quite put it together. He made a top 8, but then wasn't able to make a run. Both him and Tabu, our leaders after the first round robin, were unfortunately the first to fall, and therefore only picked up a couple of points. So congratulations to all the players here. It's been a great year working with you guys. I know there's been a lot of ups and downs. It's unfortunate that Unearthly's finest hour storyline had to end. But congratulations to Kamato. He played very well throughout the entire tournament, with the possible exception of one Tavrod block. That didn't end up costing him anything.
I think you guys really kind of gave him a bit too much flack on that block to some extent. I don't think he wanted to play the rest of the game
playing around the
finest and protect, right?
That may not exist.
Well, maybe we saw that earlier in the event and it didn't work out, but
that cost some players there. But I'm sure that this event has given us some incredible highlight footage. I encourage you guys all to check that out when it comes out. And I know the players are most of all looking for the end of the year stats write-up to see who.
Yeah, that will be coming not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. I will have a big article about the entirety of Worlds ready for everyone.
And for those of you watching at home, get ready for some Fire Justice Shadow on a ladder near you, because it's the hottest deck in Eternal right now, literally world champion level.
So. Well, yeah, don't play Sabotage on ladder, folks. Just don't do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it right now.
You'll also play 4 Annihilate into Tavrod meta.
So. No. I wouldn't do that. All right. I would play Treachery on ladder, though.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I don't think the Kamado is up for a winner's interview. So I don't think we'll have anything too fancy to close us out today. But I'm sure we'll get a text interview from the majority of the top 8 players will have something to say. Yeah. And we can get a wrap up for them. So look forward to all that throughout the next of the weeks. But unfortunately, this is a digital tournament, so we can't bring the winner in here and award them the prize and roll down ticker tape from the sky. But believe me, there's ticker tape falling over my head as we speak.
Have them awkwardly open a champagne bottle on stage.
There we go. With a horn. There we go.
There you go.
Or a sword of Icaria.
All right, folks. So
before we do our closeout, we have to do our thanks, of course, right? We have our thanks page.
Yes.
So take us away, Rec.
First, I would like to thank everyone that joined us for casting and for the analysis desk this weekend. We had to, with Loco Pojo and Rhino and Lights Out Ace playing in the event, we had to pull a little deep. Paradox and Bradykin got their time to shine. They both jumped in the casting booth, jumped in the analysis desk, and really knocked it out of the park. So huge thanks to them. And really huge thanks to all of our casters over the last year. We've had a handful of caster tryouts. We've had some people come and go. As I've been saying, unfortunately, Beardris could not make it out today. He woke up and was suddenly ill. His throat could not support a full day of casting. But even so, still thanks to Beardris, thanks to Trudon, who cast for us for a couple seasons and left. He's now mostly playing Gwent, although he still does sometimes play Eternal. Thank you to Mark, aka Chibi Kawai, who cast for us last weekend. He is currently at a convention in a tourist park in Wisconsin, so he's hopefully having a whole lot of fun. And thank you to our 3 casters, 2.5 casters who couldn't make it. Loco Pojo made it yesterday. He couldn't make it the first weekend, but and thanks to Lights Out Ace and Rhino, who have been doing a lot of work for us casting in the last few seasons. Thanks to Loco Pojo for casting yesterday. And thanks to Neon, who made his debut back in the casting booth after not casting since, I believe, the Eye of Winter Classic last year. He's usually fairly busy with family, but he made time for us from his busy schedule. He's a grad student who works on making algae into jet fuel. He's a chemical engineering PhD student. But he made time for us to jump in the analysis booth, jump in the casting booth. They've all done great jobs. It's been super great to work with them. Whew. Usually that's about how long the entire spiel is. But also thanks to all of our players, all of our viewers, everyone who's played in any of the ETS Opens, all of our invited players to invitationals and to this event. I believe we've had over 400 players, 400 unique players play in the Opens over the last year, and hopefully that number grows. It's great to see all y'all come out. It's great to have fun with y'all on Saturdays. I mean, it's sometimes stressful, sometimes players get a little salty, but really it's all in fun. And I hope everyone who watched this and hasn't had a chance to come out on a Saturday can make some time. It's fun. We won't be running any events for about any open events for about a month. We will be running the Eye of Winter Classic in just over a month on December 23rd, which I know some people will be traveling. It's unfortunate if you can't make it because of that. But for the people who aren't traveling that day and have work off, well, come out and have fun. Then we will be resuming with open ETS events in early January. And we'll be posting information about that in the Eternal Discord, in the tournament info channel, and we'll be posting on Reddit and the Steam forums for the game to announce more details as those get made concrete. And so I would also like to thank our production staff. Miller Tool and Teehee, and sometimes aReNGee and sometimes Xkirby have done a fantastic job of broadcasting our events over the last year. aReNGee was the original TO/producer for the Season 1 Invitational and the Eye of Winter Classic. Then Miller Tool, disgusted with what he saw, stepped up and really has taken our production level to the next game. Teehee's also joined us recently to fill in with when Miller has family commitments. But really, all three of you have done fantastic jobs with, getting OBS figured out and broadcasting the events. If it wasn't for all the work those three have done, we wouldn't be here today. That is just as true for aReNGee as much as he would rather not think about the times he's produced. And
best left unremembered.
And hey, thanks to aReNGee, the man himself, the founder of the Eternal Tournament series, the founder of course, aReNGeeternal.com. He stepped into the void when the Scions League stopped running and hasn't looked back since, despite constraints on his time and wallet. But if it wasn't for him, none of us would be here. We wouldn't be having these events. It's great fun. And I would also like to thank, our miscellaneous contributors, Xkirby for his contribution of graphics and our awesome interview videos, our awesome highlight reels, the awesome intro that we've run every day and will be running as we close out the stream for tonight. Mengar has made the tiebreaker script and deck image creation tool that we use week in, week out. Sir Rhino, of course, has also helped us with the deck image creation tool. Usually whenever a new set comes out, he spends the first evening of it putting together the images we need, slicing them up. And I would also like to thank Dragonfly, the man who has made a lot of our logos for the ETS World Series or World Championships, the Midseason Major, etc. I believe he's also made a handful of our assets for the overlay itself. And finally, I would also like to thank our Twitch subs, Patreon backers, and everyone that's donated bits to us on Twitch. They make it possible for us to have the prize pools at our events. None of this would be possible without you all, especially the recent amount of money we've been giving away, the $3,000 for this event, the prize pools for Team League, and the Invitational, Season 6 Invitational. Our $20 Patreon backers are Chuck Hurst, Easy, Chris Kearns, Andre Pokai, Seek Power Gaming, and Frosty HS. And a huge shout out to really everyone who's subbed to us on Twitch. It's the list of people that have subbed to us on Twitch and subbed to us on Patreon for smaller amounts. The list is too long to really read out, but you guys contribute just as much. Even small contributions really help. And really, that's it for the season. We're not going to be broadcasting next weekend. We probably won't be broadcasting the weekend after that, but we do have a couple of things cooked up. This won't be the last tournament we broadcast before the Eye of Winter Classic, I'm pretty sure. But more details about those as we solidify them. Make sure to keep your eye out on the tournament info channel in Discord for more information about those. I believe Ace will still be streaming his usual streaming schedule on Wednesday and Thursday. And now that there's no tournaments, he might resume streaming on Sunday. And so with that, Gabe, aReNGee, any final words?
Huge thanks to everybody who came out, the tournament players who took this seriously. We are just a fan tournament, of course. We're not, nobody here is a professional or anything, but you guys have done a great job with it, taking it as seriously as you have, and to all the viewers coming out. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun doing this. It's been very cool. We've had a lot of great times, so I'm just glad that I got an opportunity to put this on with all you guys.
Yeah, and if I could take a minute, I just wanted to say I've had a great time casting. I just started casting for the first time this season. And now that I finally got a real setup over here and more consistent internet, I'm going to try and move into being more involved in the Eternal community and streaming and stuff like that. So it's only good moving forward.
Glad to hear. Glad to hear. Yeah, you've contributed a lot of content to us, even if you haven't been casting quite as much as everyone else. You've sent us in some great videos. Hopefully we'll get to see more of those. It's one of the things we are working on before next season, was we want to get some more interstitial content for the breaks. But yeah, once again, really, thanks to everyone out there watching. Thanks for all the players. This is why we do this stuff. It's great. And with that, I think we're going to have to say, have a good night, and see you next season.
This has been your ETS World Championships.